Features that I never use in Djay Pro. I'm DJ Spiegel and I'm going to show you all about it. Alright, so let's dive right in. Djay Pro has so many amazing features that sometimes you forget that some of them are there, and some of them I wonder why they even put them in, because I personally never use them, and I'm pretty sure not a lot of other people use them. So let's get right into it. So first of all, there is one deck mode. Now, I have never used this section of the app in like my 6 or 7 years of using the app. So let's just load up a deck into here, load up a track into this one deck. And then let's go to, just gonna load up. So what it does is it gives you a zoomed in view of the waveform, and then it gives you access to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cue points. So it's the same amount of cue points that you could get in classic mode or in pro mode with the 8 cue points, but it's just a zoomed in version. You can't mix. There's no 2 decks. You could organize your library, and this is this section of the app they put there for song preparation, so you get your songs ready in your playlist like I always tell you guys to do. But I just think it's complete waste of space in the app, because you could do the same thing in pro mode, have access to all these cue points, have access to the waveform, have access to the loops, and it's really not necessary to get the bigger view of the waveform, because this view is fine in 2 deck mode. So 1 deck mode, I don't know why they put it there. Let me know down in the comments if you guys use 1 deck mode, because I definitely do not. Another feature while we're on the different screens that I never use would be 4 deck mode. So I never play 4 songs at the same time. I know a lot of DJs, a lot of famous DJs, a lot of really advanced DJs do it. The only thing I use the 4 deck mode for is to put another track onto the 3rd deck. So I usually will put a track that I know everyone's gonna like. So if I get jammed up, if I don't know what to play, I have that song on the 3rd deck. But I never use the full 4 decks in 4 deck mode. I just feel like it's way too small, everything's scrunched together, and it's really hard to be accurate with your mixing, and I just really do not like this screen. So let's go back to pro mode. Alright, so another thing that I don't use is the pitch cue. I don't really understand why you would want to use it. What it does is it pitches up and down the cues, so it'll make like the song higher pitch, lower pitch, and you could trigger it just by pressing it. But I don't really know why you would want to make it high pitched and low pitched. I guess maybe you could make like a rhythm or make like a beat with it, but since the update and since it's been here, I have not used it. And another thing is the slice. I guess again it's for doing like drum beats or making it into a drum pad out of the song. But I don't think it's necessary, and I would have loved to see them give us maybe another feature that might be easier to use and more fun to use. Another thing that I very rarely use would be the smart playlist. What it does is it'll make a playlist based on your parameters. So what you could do is you could sort it by BPM, and then you could set BPM ranges and stuff like that. But I like to make my own playlist, and I don't think it's accurate enough, and I never use the smart playlist section of the app. Now, another thing is these featured songs. These are like, I guess, copyright free, or I'm not sure about that, but they give you songs to kind of get used to mixing if you don't have access to a streaming service, or if you don't have music on your device. It's for if you just download the app and you want to start DJing right away. So I think that's cool, but I very rarely to never use them unless I'm messing around and there's no service or something like that. Now over here with the BPM, they have a function where you could tap in the BPM. So sometimes when you load up a song and it analyzes it, it might get the BPM off, or it might get it wrong, or the system might not even be able to determine what BPM it is. So what Tap does, and a lot of other DJ softwares have this feature, is you could tap in the BPM. So it would be like tapping your finger on a desk or on your steering wheel while you're driving when you tap it to the beat, and then you're tapping to the downbeat, and then this is supposed to get the BPM down. And I've tried it a bunch of times. I don't think it works really well, and the music that I play already has the BPM, and I don't think it's necessary. But also, let me know in the comments if you guys ever use this feature. Another feature, which is kind of a hidden feature that I never use, is in classic mode, you could adjust the arm, and if you put it towards the middle, it'll be the end of the song, and if you put it towards on the outside of the record, it'll be on the beginning of the song. This is to simulate actual turntables, and so DJs would move this needle and put it to where they wanted to. And I think it's cool that they paying homage to the old school, but I don't think it's necessary, and I never use it. Another thing is this button here. What this button does is it acts like you just unplugged or turned off the power to the turntable, and then it'll slowly reduce the song. And the one way to use it is if you were going to do a transition from a higher BPM to a lower BPM, it can make a cool transition. But I don't see any other reason for using this button. And then also, you could start the track. So if you want to have like a slow starting on the track, which I don't know why you would, then you could do it with that button. So moving right along, if we go over here to looper mode, this is another full screen that I never use, because you get access to every single loop, you get access to every single sample, and the only extra thing you get are these volume faders to slowly fade in the volume or adjust the volume of certain tracks, I guess they're called tracks in the looper section, so like the kicks, the percussions, the tops, and I just don't find it necessary at all. I never really feel like I need to adjust the volume of these loops. So if I'm using the looper or the sampler, I will use it in pro mode because it has access to the same thing on both, except there's none of those volume faders, which aren't necessary at all, so I don't use them. Another thing is that you could zoom in on the waveforms. So if you press this forgot how to do it. So yeah, so what you're going to do is, if you see my mouse, you're going to press the 1 or you're going to press the 2 over here, and then you go all the way down to zoom, and then you can zoom in on your waveforms and you just get a distorted view of your waveforms, which I don't know why you would want to zoom in so much on just a waveform. It doesn't really make sense to me, but it's there, and I don't know why they wasted the time or wasted the space putting that feature in. Another thing while we're on the waveforms is the vertical waveform orientation. I don't know why you would want such a small view of the waveforms. I get it that people that use Tractor or Serato are used to the vertical waveforms, but me being a Djay Pro user since the beginning and never really used any other DJ software, I'm very used to these horizontal waveforms. I feel like it's easier to see, easier to find your cue points, and easier to know when there's going to be vocals and when there's going to be a drop. Another thing is the slice and slip mode. I just find that hard to use and kind of annoying, and I don't think it's necessary at all. So now if we go over here to our mixer section, the gain, I never adjust the gain, because if you go here to the middle, and we go to sound, I always keep auto gain on, because they made the gain so small that it's almost impossible to use. And if you do use it, you run the risk of making it too high, making it too low. So I just use the auto gain. Now, I use the filters a lot. You got EQ over here. And then you could change the EQ to NeuroMix EQ, which I never do. The only time if I'm using NeuroMix would be this button down here, where you could just simply, boom, put it to an acapella or put it to the instrumental. I feel like using these these type of controls are hard to use. It's easier to use with a mouse, but they're still hard to turn these knobs. So I just avoid doing it, and I like these sliders instead. So let me know down below in the comments if you use any of these features, and let me know if you didn't know about them, and now that I told you that I don't use them, that you might start using them. And if you like learning about new stuff with Djay Pro, learning how to DJ with the iPad, and the future of DJing, subscribe to my channel and give this video a like. Thank you.